I have avoided a lot of the conversation around oil and gas, but I thought that since I was doing this tonight, I should get myself a little bit of information, a little bit. So I'm going to pass on the little information that I have, which is supposedly factual and semi-scientific. As far as their public declarations go, the Exxon explorations indicate that they have 5.5 billion barrels of oil that they intend to exploit. They're projecting an exploitation rate of 500,000 barrels a day. Nobody else, none of the other explorers have indicated that they've seen anything or how much they have. So that number could well go up. The issue is, as Mike has been saying, is that oil, like other mineral resources, is depletable. It is not a renewable resource. So when the oil has been extracted, that's it, full stop, finished. I think a few years ago there was in some one of the tussles that Guyana had with Trinidad, I think a calypso came up about oil don't spoil, and we had some responses to that. Now we have oil, and we're talking about how it's going to be exploited. So there's a lot of experts have come through here, and my impression from the little that I've allowed myself to look at, I don't understand it. I don't understand what they're talking about. The women in red thread don't understand what they're talking about. And we're not sure exactly what it means. And part of the problem, of course, is that the conversation is not intended to include the average Guyanese. So there's a conversation happening up there between the engineers, the economists, the financiers, and so forth, and we're down here trying to celebrate because we got oil, so we're going to be rich. So out of that confusion, I decided to investigate a couple other things. And since Norway has been in Guyana's business for some time, I thought I should look at Norway, which is one of the really big oil-producing countries. And Norway is celebrated because they have their equivalent of what's being talked about here, the Sovereign Wealth Fund, in which the majority of the money raised from oil is deposited. I was doing some research, and I think 4% of that money that is deposited, 4% is what they use to supplement their budget. The money is there. They were celebrating very recently that every Norwegian is now a millionaire, because the fund has grown. So if they were to distribute that money, every Norwegian would get 1 million krona, I think it is. So that's a fund that was very, very well managed. They've invested that money. The money has grown. And as their oil reserves become depleted, there is that money which goes on into the future. The other thing that I've heard being the term that's tossed around, that I thought I should try to understand a little better, is Dutch disease. I believe it's because the Netherlands was the first or maybe the most prominent country to suffer from this disease. And the simplest explanation I've found is that it is the name given when there is a massive influx of foreign currency into a country, which means that the end result of that is that local production is not very attractive to the citizens of the country. So, for example, if you were a school teacher and you see that the laborers on one of the companies that have subcontracts with the oil firm earning 3 times, 10 times as much as you working as a teacher. Why would you teach? Bust off the teaching and you go and do the laboring work. Without that kind of conversation, something very similar happened in the bauxite industry. When we saw the retrenchments and we saw skilled bauxite workers, skilled machinists and so forth, moving into the interior to look for minerals or driving taxis on the street. So we lost a whole lot of skills. So I believe that probably the first thing, this influx of foreign currency, if it's allowed to happen, as it has happened in many, many countries, means that 9 times out of 10, or 9 out of 10 of your imports will be much cheaper than producing stuff and to try to export. So your exports become unprofitable, your imports are cheaper. So there is no real incentive for local production, and that's the big danger. So that, for example, we would be looking at importing food instead of improving the agricultural sector. We would be looking at furniture. Why bother to produce furniture? Import it. So everything, so local industry could potentially die if all this money comes in. Which means that the wealth from the oil exploitation has to be very, very carefully managed. And here's the rub now. Guyana was informed very, very late about many of the conditions in the contract with Exxon. Was informed very, very late about many of the conditions in the contract with Exxon. It seems to me, and this is not the first time, that something has been given away, that an agreement has been signed. The only salvation, the only way to avoid the Dutch disease, as Thomas is saying, I have 2 minutes, so talking fast now, is good governance. That's really the only answer. We can look at Venezuela and see Venezuela is a massive producer of oil. We can see what has happened there in terms of governance. We can see in various of the African oil producing and mineral producing countries what has happened in terms of governance. We need to look at governance here. We know from before, when there's been influxes of wealth because of market prices, there's a big focus on infrastructure and vanity projects and so forth. But right now, we have major problems, notwithstanding various projects, major problems in the social sector. Education, health, housing, the survival of young people, the engagement of young people, as Darwin was saying. These are things that need attention. The topic, is this oil the road to perdition or the road to prosperity? I believe that we're already on the road to perdition. And we have to get a grip of it. We have to engage in this conversation. We have to demand some answers, and we have to demand much more involvement in understanding what is happening, who is taking these decisions, what is this social wealth, sovereign wealth fund really going to do, and who is managing it, and what are the terms and conditions, where are you going to invest? Are we going to invest money in fly-by-night things which will then lose lots of money? So we don't have any magic bullet that is bringing wealth. I think it was an economist who called Joseph Stiglitz, who said that abundant natural wealth often creates rich countries with very poor people. And I don't think we want that here.